All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today for this meeting of board members and commission members. It's amazing to have all of us together. It's a weird time. For many of you, this is the first time you're seeing me, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Shanda Hunter. I'm the new public relations manager for the city. I've been on board for about 5 or 6 minutes. By minutes, I mean weeks, so I'm pretty new here. Before that, I was the assistant news director over at Channel 5, and I helped run daily operations in the newsroom. My time so far at the city has been awesome, and that's because there's a lot of really great employees working for the city. We want to thank all of you for serving the city of Rogers and being some of our biggest advocates and cheerleaders. We're also going to update you on some big projects that within the city departments, and have the department heads and some members of each department catch you up on everything that's going on. A quick note, if you have any questions for department heads or the mayor or anyone else, there's a Q&A button at the very bottom middle of your screen. Just go ahead, type your question, and we'll field all of those at the end. Reminder, the meeting is being recorded. So let's get started. Without further ado, let's welcome Mayor Greg Hines. Mayor.
Shanda, thank you for the introduction. I want to welcome everyone here today, and certainly want to not miss the opportunity to thank you for your service. The work that you do representing our city is important work. It's what we like to refer to as the people's business. And so I want to thank you for the many years of service many of you have given. Would also like to take the opportunity to thank all of our department heads and employees, those that you'll hear from today, and those that you see passing by in trucks and all over the city performing work throughout our great city. And so, you know, these are trying times for all of us. We've all been a little taxed. We're all in an ever changing and evolving environment that seems unstable. And so for many folks, that creates trouble, from the work perspective, from family perspective, the fear, sending kids off to school, and all these other things, not to mention us, trying to figure out how to continue to engage with our family and loved ones that are maybe more susceptible to negative results from COVID if they were to catch it. So I'm well aware of all those stressors, and I'm right there with you. But we hope that today will just be an opportunity for you to get to hear about some of the great things that you may or may not know are happening in Rogers, and to continue to keep you informed so that you can be an advocate for us, regardless of the specific area or discipline that you serve in. We think it's important that you have a broad knowledge of what's going on, because folks in the community know who you are. They know that you're a part of city operations, and so we want to continue to update you and provide those things. I'm going to hit a couple of hot topics just really quick to get us started off. Want to dispel some fears on sales tax. A lot of talk around the country is about finances for state governments and city governments and county governments. And we're okay. We have a very healthy reserve intentionally. And so we haven't had to dip into that during this time. We've had 1 month where our sales tax numbers were down from the previous year. But we're set currently, it looks like we'll hit our projections on sales tax collections for the year. We're not going to beat them by the 4 to 7% we have year over year for the last decade, but we're going to meet them. And then, during this time, it's become important, all that much more important, I guess, to focus on the stay local, shop local initiative that, it's so easy right now to lean into Amazon or Walmart.com or Staples.com or any of these other places that provide us the things and tools we need to work and carry out life. And it's safe to do. And so we're leaning into those. But there's a lot of local businesses that also provide those same products and services, and have shifted and accommodated for folks to be able to do pickup purchases, and where you don't even get out of your car. So lean into that and try to look for local options to supply you with the things that you need, both professionally and personally. And I think, we're going to see a lot of folks not come out the other side of this still open, but whatever we can individually do together will make a collective difference in how we all get through this. I'll tell you that our facility reopening has been somewhat slow and methodical on purpose. Unlike many of the other cities and counties around the state and the country, and you can call it blind luck or maybe just a little bit of experience, as I've been doing this for a couple minutes. We didn't shut down. We didn't react like it was a snow day where we turned the lights out, locked the building up, and everybody went home. And as a result of that, over the couple of weeks that were mentioned in CARES Act, once that got into 3 and 4 weeks, a lot of the folks that represent these cities, counties, and agencies from a legal perspective started warning about that you just can't leave people sitting at home getting paid, and so indefinitely. And so they were all scrambling around trying to figure out how to get to work and bring people back to work safely and not get themselves in some sort of taxpayer lawsuit. We just shifted to, if you could legitimately perform a government function from home or remotely, then we made accommodations to allow folks to do that. That also allowed us the space to be able to safely create a work environment where those folks who just simply cannot legitimately perform a function of legitimate business from a remote site to come to work safely and continue to do their job. Nobody was furloughed. Nobody positions were eliminated. Everybody that had a job in February still has their job today unless they chose to leave us. And so, we're proud to have been able to do that. We think that while some of those employees by week 3, if they had a friend that worked in another city or county, were trying, grumbling a little bit about why they didn't get to sit at home and watch Price is Right every morning in their pajamas, they're damn glad to have a job. They know that we're here to support them, and they understand the importance of the position to have, and that, frankly, many of our neighbors and friends, coworkers, and family have not been as fortunate as the folks that call themselves employees in the city of Rogers. The last thing I wanted to just mention before I turn it over to Jennifer Moore for to really kick this off into the meat section. We entered into an agreement with the ownership group of the convention center and the Embassy Suites earlier this year, and that will result in the name change of the convention center. You may have noticed here, as of I think last Friday, they started removing the signs around the building and on the building that was previously known as the John Q. Hammond Center. They will, in the next several weeks, be installing the new signs, which will be, it'll be called the Rogers Convention Center. We believe that's a strategic partnership that is imperative for us to continue to maintain our identity and sort of, keep our stake in the ground, if you will, given, some of the uncertainties of folks. And the example I've used before was being at an AMP concert, and someone that I casually know from the vendor community came up to me and said, "Hey, when's Rogers going to get something cool like the AMP?" And, you shake your head and I'm like, "You're in Rogers." And he argued, the guy argued with me about that he was in Bentonville. I said, no, you're in Rogers. So we think it's important for us to continue to be mindful of that branding, and to take opportunities as they present themselves. So I'm excited to see the sign change and what that'll mean for folks visiting from all over the world when that starts happening again. So again, glad you're here. I'll be with you throughout the time that you spend here together, and we'll hopefully have some time for questions at the end. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. And thank you, board and commission members, for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And our team has been working through this time of COVID to streamline, digitize, and automate processes and forms to better serve our constituents. And we thought we would take this opportunity to go ahead and show you some of the things that we've been working on. And so one of the first things I want to start with on our website is the how-to. And this is a staff favorite, or at least my favorite, of go-to place for finding just about everything most people are going to need to know. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the agendas and minutes. And this is the go-to center for all boards and commission minutes and agendas. There is search features, and there is an option for notify me, which is a fantastic way to always stay in the loop through an email message letting you know that an agenda has been posted or minutes have been posted, or immediately be notified if an agenda has been amended. So highly encourage everybody to use this agenda center. And we are also working on Civic Clerk, which will be rolling out early next year, which will be very much like Agenda Center, but a little more robust and allow for some other features like electronic voting and things like that. We're excited to be able to roll that out to you, but we wanted to take this opportunity to show you Agenda Center now and its capabilities. Moving on, we would like to take a peek at the Clerk's webpage. As you all know, Jessica Rush is our new city clerk after Peggy's retirement. And so we've been working with Jessica on getting all of these neat processes digitized and online. So we encourage folks to look here. Probably one of the significant points that I want to touch on today is the Code of Ordinances. If you go to the city clerk's page, you can click on the Code of Ordinances, and there's a great deal of information on this page. However, there's an even more better website that I'm going to show you here in just a moment. But I kind of wanted to go over the history when an ordinance is passed and how that process goes. So when an ordinance is passed, we typically would have posted it on our webpage as an ordinance that was not yet codified. It was going to be codified, but not yet codified. Our team has been working really hard with MuniCode the last several months to update our MuniCode website where our code is held, to make this as user-friendly as we can. One of the big changes we've brought on this year is the Ord Bank. And this allows for ordinances that have not yet been codified to be available right there with our code. So I highly encourage you to check this website out, and you can get there from the city clerk's page. And always start with the very first page, because that'll let you know if there's any pending ordinances that have been passed but not yet codified. And when we say codified, we are talking about those code changes being implemented in the whole code itself. So typically this is done 1 to 2 times a year. It is expensive. It can be anywhere from $3,000 up to $16,000 to do a supplement. And so we are currently working on supplement 21 with MuniCode, and that should be published very soon. And we are also working with MuniCode on a complete recodification of the code, which hasn't been done since 2009. So we're excited to get a really clean version of the code that's free of supplements and ready to be used. So another thing we are working on bringing to you very soon, we just updated our subscription with them last month so that we can have a link to codes that have been changed. So for instance, if I see that Chapter 20 of the City of Rogers Code of Ordinances regarding open burning has been changed, I can go into Chapter 20 and there will be a little icon here to let me know that there's something still that's pending codification. And so you would be immediately able to click on that and go to that. We hope that to be up and running at the end of December. So look forward to that being included in there. We are definitely excited that we're able to get live updates when a code is, or when an ordinance is processed and code is amended. Unicode is typically able to, within 48 hours, get that onto our homepage. So that's fantastic. We're glad this process is available. There's also a search feature in Unicode, which is fantastic. If you want to look up burning, you can just type in burning and it will bring you to every piece of code that exists on burning. And if I spelled it right, that would probably be better. It'd probably actually bring something up. The other great tool is well, maybe it's not going to, but it does work, I promise. There's also notifications where you can sign up to get an email notification when the code is updated. So this is another fantastic feature that I would really encourage our boards and commission members and city council members, anybody that's in the code, to sign up for. This way you will be notified anytime there are changes that are made. Okay, well, moving on. And if you ever have any questions about the Unicode or the Code of Ordinances, please do feel free to reach out. We would be happy to walk anyone through that. Moving on, we're going to take a quick look at tools for residences that we've been able to bring online through this COVID. We've been taking the opportunity to see what we can put online for folks so they don't necessarily have to come to City Hall. And I think my favorite is the garage sale permit. This is super great for the constituents who are having their yard sales. So instead of coming to City Hall, you now can file for your permit online. And it gets all the information and captures it. It also has the codes available for folks to read. They will receive a permit that they can then download. So we are excited about that. And the next thing we've done for online is the no-knock list. And I know my team is sick of hearing me say my silly joke, but knock, knock, who's there? Not a peddler if you're on our no-knock list. So I would also encourage anybody to jump onto the website to sign up for our no-knock list. Peddlers are not to knock on anyone's door if they are on this list, which they must get with their permit, or if they have a clearly posted sign that says no soliciting. So the City of Rogers has taken a great step in providing folks with a low adhesive sticker or window cling if they need one. And that ensures that the peddler is aware that you do not want them knocking at your door. I will also note that the no-knock list is a term of 2 years. So if all of a sudden you're getting peddlers knocking on your door, it could be that you have fallen off the list and it's expired and you just need to fill this form out and we'll get you right back on it. So that's fantastic. Moving on, we have also put online street and parking lot closure request forms. Previously, this was a triplicate old school form that needed to go to many buildings to get routed, and we've streamlined the process and are now taking these applications online. And again, there's great resources here for folks regarding the steps, some samples that they can use to notify property owners, and some helpful contacts and information. They can upload their documents, they can give us all of the pertinent information, and then we route this to the various departments in the city that would need to approve or be aware of any street closures that are happening. And then ultimately, these get brought to the Transportation Committee for final adjudication, if you will. And then the Transportation Committee will also sign, and that will be the person's permit to get going. So we are excited about that. And the next thing, Rogers is so incredibly awesome that people want to be a part of us. So we frequently get questions about annexations. What's the process? What does that look like? And if you get those questions from constituents out in the community, I would encourage you to send them to the city clerk's page. Here you will find everything you need to know about annexations, our process, the form to request from the city, and also the different methods of annexation that are available. And so we encourage folks to look at that. And then finally, my favorite feature of all is the report of concern. So oftentimes when I'm answering calls or folks are coming into City Hall and they have an issue, we certainly take the time and talk with them about that. But I also like to tell folks about this mechanism. It gives people an organized way to provide the city with their issues or concerns. The platform is set up to direct the concern to the appropriate departments, and in some cases, multiple departments, depending on the type of issue. And typically, this will also go to several people within that department so that there are many eyes on it. A ticket is opened and must be completed by those respective departments. And the system is monitored frequently to ensure resolution and closing out of any open tickets. And I love this option for citizens as well, because there is an option to remain anonymous, so people can feel free to submit their concerns while maintaining their privacy. So I think that's a good look at our website. Again, how to is probably my go-to place, and report a concern. So thank you again for taking the time to be with us. And if there's ever any questions you have, feel free to call City Hall. We are here for you. And any suggestions or feedback, we also appreciate those. And I will be turning it over to Mr. Jim White. He will be getting ready to do his part of this presentation now, and it's probably much more exciting than my piece of it. So we're going to get Jim in here. Jim White, you're on.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me. Shanna, you got me there?
Yes, Jim, we have you. Go ahead.
Okay, a little bit about the Parks and Rec, and thank you for everybody that's taken a chance to listen in today. Want to especially thank our commissioners in the Parks Department. A little bit about our office. We, as the mayor mentioned, we've not closed. We do have our programmers. Most of our programmers, they rotate, and they have been to work either remotely from the office. Right now, we have 10 that work in our office, and so right now we're on a rotation on even and odd. I've got 5 of them in every day. Our supervisors are in all but every day. And you can come in, you can get an appointment, you can meet with one of us, or you can call and we'll make an appointment to meet you. We do follow those guidelines that the mayor set up for us in our offices, and it's really working pretty well. As far as out in the parks and as far as what's going on with COVID, for the most part, our parks are open. The amenities that are not open are simply the sports parks. We've chosen to do that simply to control our large groups, encourage social distancing. I hate to say discourage anything, but to encourage the social distancing aspect, and by not doing rentals in those sports parks, then we were able to control that to a much better degree. Now, we do have a couple of things going on, and if you see people out there, so you'll know, at the regional sports park right now, we've got adult softball going on. It's been going on for about 6 weeks. It'll finish this month. We're underway in the activity center with our youth volleyball. Now, normally that would be there and in the schools, but right now, with the situation with the schools, we understand we're not allowed in those buildings right now. So that youth volleyball is underway, and we're going to go ahead and get our youth basketball started. It's going to be a little bit of an abbreviated version. It'll be 4th and 8th grade only to begin with, and they'll be playing at the activity center. And I want to remind anybody that's been in and out of the activity center that you know that they're doing a really good job of managing their the COVID response there at the activity center. And we feel really safe about the way those things are going on, and we act the same way in our offices. So that's kind of where we are on recreation at the moment. As far as out in the parks, we do have some things going on. The biggest thing is we are going to bid Mount Hebron on the 22nd. We had a Zoom meeting this morning with Dylan and David Hook, and also Mr. Brackett, our engineer. It went really well. So we're there. Even you'll see some test bores going on out there in the next few days. I remind everybody that we have already purchased the play and splash areas for that park, and they are in storage in Rogers. Mr. Hook has procured through national procurement programs the fields and the courts. So we just need to get this civil project underway, and I think we'll do really well out there. As far as moving forward to Northwest Park, now that's in the second spin, as we like to say, so it's still out there. We do have a concept plan that was approved by our commission via the Northwest Park Study Committee. We do have a concept plan, but we do not have that to design professional yet, but it will be in the very near future, and then we'll move along. One of the last things they asked me to let y'all know about is a little bit about Slow Streets. Slow Streets is a joint project between the City of Rogers and Bike NWA. We have partnered with Bike NWA for some time. They're a super group. And what we're trying to do is simply help them a little bit, facilitate a little bit with logistics. All the brain work of that was through community development with Lance and John and those guys that worked really hard on the engineering end of this to make sure that the routes are safe. And we've had some comments, and we've tried to respond to those. And I think the street department, community development have done a really good job. And we're excited about this Slow Streets initiative during this time of COVID and allow people another opportunity to be outside, but be safe and maybe move around a little bit in a very safe manner. That's kind of what I've got. I'll hang on afterwards. If somebody has questions, of course, they can get a hold of myself or Andrew at any time. I think I'm supposed to send this over to legal, and Bonnie, good luck.
So my name is Bonnie Bridges. I'm the staff attorney for the City of Rogers. We have another staff attorney, John Pesic, who is on as well, but I'm not sure if anybody can see him. So if you can see me and hear me at least, we're going to go over just a few key concepts of FOIA that are very, very important for all boards and commissions. FOIA is a pretty nuanced law and can get complicated. So if you ever have any questions about FOIA or you get a FOIA request, please feel free to just send it directly to legal and we can handle that for you or help walk you through the process. But some of the most important things to remember are that any type of communication that an elected official or an appointed official is having about city business is FOIAble. If it is a text message, if it is an email, if it is a piece of paper note that is passed behind you to your other commission member, all of those notes and communications are FOIAble if they're talking about city business. This also applies to personal devices. So if you are texting another commission member or another council member on your personal cell phone and you're asking them about something that's on the agenda, those communications are FOIAble as well. So just bear those things in mind when you are talking about city business. All public meetings, commission meetings, council meetings, board meetings have to be recorded, video and audio, during this COVID time while we are allowed to have electronic meetings. If that ends, if we go back to having in-person meetings, then we generally just do the audio, but the legislature has granted a change in the law for COVID purposes that we have to make sure that we are videoing them physically so that we can see everything and with the audio recording. John and I are really well versed in FOIA. We would be more than happy to help any of you that have any questions. The legal department is always open. We're back to being fully staffed. So if there's anything we can ever do to help any of you, just please let us know. And I will kick this over to Captain Best at the Rogers Police Department. Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to give a quick update on the dispatch center that we're building with money from the recent bond passing. We recently received a guaranteed price, $5.5 million. Initially, I think the projected completion date was in mid-March. They're ahead of schedule. Now they're saying the end of January. The building will be complete, which will put it operational and in use, hopefully by March. There's a lot of logistics to work out with transferring all the equipment over. That should take about a month. I think the plan is to use CRMS money for dispatch equipment, furniture, the technology, software, hardware, the smart wall, which is going to be a really cool deal. It's the equivalent of 10 55-inch TVs stacked 5 across and 2 high. The dispatch can utilize for almost anything can be put up there. And attached to the dispatch center, we're going to have offices for a training unit, a large training room, which will free up some office space in the main building. With the remaining bond money, we plan on doing some renovations to the main building. We're excited about all that, and even more excited that it's coming to fruition a lot sooner than anticipated. That's all I have. I'll pass the baton to Deputy Chief Hyde with the Fire Department.
Thank you, Captain Best. We appreciate that update. And I am going to take a second to share my screen for our update. So if you're not already aware, the fire department, of course, we put out fires and we do perform rescues and provide emergency medical services, but we also supervise all construction in the city. And with that little bit of awareness, I'll walk you through some projects that the fire department has undertaken since the bond election and what we have completed, and then I'll give you a brief update for current building status in the city. So one significant project for us has been the completion of Fire Station number 8 on Pleasant Grove Road. It will not surprise me if you haven't seen this in person, since we're still trying to complete utility relocation and construction of Pleasant Grove Road to connect between Rainbow and Highway 112. But you see a good image of the station, and we're very happy to reduce by over 7 minutes in some cases our response time to emergencies, and this station has performed several emergency responses already in a short time out there. The next project that we've completed, if you can see the 5-story burn building, we call it a burn building. It's designed particularly for starting fires so that we can train firefighters how to put them out. And this building is very well engineered, very well constructed, and we can burn thousands of times, and then it will serve us for quite some time to come. The 5-story component that you see there is also able to let us rescue, train to rescue people from elevated positions, and very, very valuable for us. The third project that we have undertaken that's been completed in the last month is an expansion of our training center. Gives us 2 additional classrooms and a conference area and expanded shower and break facilities. Very, very handy during firefighter training and recruit schools where we train jointly with several other area departments at our building. The final bond project for us was acquisition of new resources in the fleet that gives us 3 fire engines, a new ladder truck, and a new rescue truck. All of those have been purposely built for the city of Rogers and have been delivered and are in service. We're happy to report. As far as construction in town, we have certainly not slowed down at all. Right now, in the time period between October of 19 and this month, we have completed 86 commercial projects, 437 apartments have been put online, and 266 additional single-family homes were constructed. Our current permits issued between October last year and this year include 132 new commercial projects, 130 remodels. If you can see on the screen there, that comes to a valuation of over $300 million and a little bit over 2 million square feet in additional commercial space in town. That also shows us 791 apartments are currently under construction. We have 280 new residential permits issued, and that comes up to a little bit over $75 million, and another 218 are under remodel. I want to give you a brief update. You might see some of these throughout town. These are not actually included in the numbers I gave you just now because their permits were pulled before October of last year, but these are some significant commercial projects underway. Founders Plaza, directly across from Top Golf, sandwiched in between a lot of other development out there. 2 buildings, over 430,000 square feet, over 50 million in value. We estimate that'll be completed in 2021. Uptown Square is 4 buildings over almost 250,000 square feet, 25 million in value, estimated completion next year. Storage World's on the east side of town, over 100,000 square feet of new storage space. This is in conjunction with about 3 other large storage concepts that are being constructed in town. 10 million in value, it'll be completed this year. And then Pinnacle Heights, over 450,000 square feet, almost 50 million in value, and it is anticipated to be completed in the next month or so. Graphical representation, this is Founders Plaza with its parking garage, the 2 buildings, office space, and a large parking area elevated. This is an image of Pinnacle Heights, and it is nearing the end of its construction. Mixed use space for commercial, offices, and residential. Storage World is shown right there. And this is Uptown Square. It is in a lesser degree of completion, but nonetheless, it is going up very well. And we look forward to getting that completed in 2021. It's my pleasure now to pass this over to John McCurdy, our partners over in community development, and he can give you a great glimpse of what is coming for us. Here you go, John.
Thanks, Chief Hyde. And I think we might have had a little bit of trouble seeing your screen share. And so we will let everybody know that we can send out Chief Hyde's presentation with the recording for those that want to see that.
Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, I really miss the days when we were doing this in the council chambers and we could have a sandwich and I could get a little bit of feedback, interact with y'all a little bit. I enjoyed those meetings. I think that we all miss the feedback. Just to go military for a minute, von Clausewitz talked about how war, there's always fog and friction, and that speaks to the fact that fog makes it hard to see things, and friction makes it hard to do things. And since COVID, I think that we've all experienced that communication is a little bit more difficult, situational awareness is a little bit more challenging, and it's hard for things not to begin slowing down. And so, before Chief Hyde's group sees developments and starts supervising construction, community development sees those requests beginning with rezones and subdivisions, and then large scale development requests and all the stuff that goes with that. And just as risk reduction hasn't seen any slowing in their tempo, community development hasn't either. If anything, it's picked up. Most of you were probably aware of an article that talked about how the city of Rogers is experiencing commercial development at a pace that exceeds that of Kansas City, Oklahoma City, or Tulsa, and is just pretty close to the city of Dallas, Texas. That was going into all this, and a lot of those projects that we were just starting to see get a glimpse of before COVID hit, we've now been putting through large scale development and through rezones and everything else. So, I mean, it's been very busy. So the challenge has been to maintain situational awareness and communication and feedback, and also to maintain our speed and responsiveness to the public. And so, like the rest of the staff, as the mayor mentioned, we have been open for business from the very beginning. Our staff has mixed remote, working in the office, or working some flex time, et cetera. Everything from, I've got one employee whose job is almost 100% computer work, working GIS issues and just crunching data and mapping and things like that. And he's been able to rarely come to the office and yet still manage to produce everything that we need to have produced. Whereas we have other folks that their primary job is to answer phones and to speak to the public when they come into the building. And so depending on the position, those folks have either been in the office or not, but by pushing as many people as we can out of the building, it certainly makes the environment safer for those of us who are in the building. So I think it's worked out really well. It has also really forced us to look at our business processes and to work on becoming more efficient, less paper dependent, looking for ways to do a lot more online. And just as the clerk's office has managed to bring electronic forms and signatures and things like that to bear on the clerk's processes, we've done the same thing in community development. So a lot of our processes, that some of them have always been electronic, but not necessarily electronic, we've been a lot more prescriptive about requiring people to submit online forms and to go more digital. And I think that that's been really good for us. We're also early adopters of Zoom technology. And so I feel like, 2020 is going to be the Zoom year for us. And I think that, the planning commissioners were some of the first Zoom guinea pigs for a large format public meeting, and kind of worked out the kinks on that early on. And I'm glad and thankful that we did that. And, we've had some glitches, but for the most part, have managed to carry out our business on schedule, on time, effectively. And I really don't think that it has hurt us any in terms of getting things done. So I'm really proud of our folks as far as that goes. Across the city, construction has significantly increased when it comes to heavy construction. When COVID hit, we had many projects through the design phase, and land acquisition was well along, and we were working on utility relocations and things like that. And as if you've driven around much lately, you'll realize that a lot of that construction is ongoing right now, and it will continue to be going on for quite some time. I would never want to have gone through COVID as a city, but we have taken advantage of the situation with fewer people out and about to try to get some things done, and to get them done in maybe a little bit less painless way than if streets had been a little bit more congested and more folks were out and about. So I guess we can be a little bit thankful that we've managed to get some work done during COVID. And it's not just public, but private development and construction has been going both in the downtown area. In fact, today I saw that we're seeing some new demolition of privately owned property. The old fence company was demolished this morning, and we're seeing more and more redevelopment or infill development in downtown Rogers, and the space between downtown and uptown Rogers, and certainly a massive amount of construction going on in the Pinnacle area. A lot of that being city construction of roads and new roads and redeveloping roads and improving some intersections, things like that, as well as private road development and heavy construction of major buildings and facilities. So just a lot going on. So what's it going to look like over the next 3 to 5 years? Probably a lot of more of the same. So let me take you through just a little bit of what we're seeing going forward. If you haven't been to this page, this is on the city webpage, and if you navigate your way to community development, you can see this map, eventually find a GIS of current projects. These are the projects that the engineering division is currently actively working. Starting kind of the big ones in the uptown area, a couple of overpasses, and if you zoom in closer and closer, eventually you'll be able to see the actual design of these projects. So here are some of the road projects in the uptown Pinnacle area, a number of new intersection improvements, and then a new overpass that will connect. Basically, this is where the Rogers Civic Center is. Crossing over to the Mercy campus will be a new overpass over I-49 that will be walkable and bike rideable. Then kind of zooming back out, one of our most significant projects that has not really kicked off yet is this Easy Street Extension project, which will be a combination of new roads and improvements of existing roads. So right here is Sam's Club. And the purpose of this project is to get people to the new Walmart campus, which will be roughly in this area. So making it much easier to navigate and make your way from downtown Rogers to the new Walmart headquarters. That project will sweep through and eventually cross Highway 12 and provide a corridor to be able to drive from downtown Rogers all the way to the Walmart home office without ever stopping at a red light. And so it'll be a very safe and predictable route, fairly limited access. And so it's intended to be a thoroughfare, just a way to get from here to there. Right now, you're starting to see a lot of this construction, this initial phase of improving Arkansas Street to the north in anticipation of connecting eventually to that Easy Street project. A lot of this is being done right now. You're seeing block by block being torn up with some utility work being done initially, and then we'll eventually be coming back in with construction. That work is this first phase will take us to the end of next year, but the Easy Street project in total, including all the Arkansas Street connections, will be about a 3-year project. We don't have a very firm timeline on it right now because we've got a lot of coordination to do with AMRR, the railroad, and the state of Arkansas, RDOT. Other projects in downtown Rogers, we're underway restriping most of the downtown streets. That restriping project will be completed by the end of this year. We will be working on Poplar Street. It's really a beautification project of Poplar Street to add some sidewalks and street trees and to slow the street down a little bit since we have 3 schools along Poplar. But we anticipate that Poplar will become a more attractive and desirable way to enter downtown Rogers, an alternative to Walnut. The Walnut Street project is a massive project that's just now finishing up land acquisition. This is a partnership with the state of Arkansas through RDOT, and that project is going to go on for the next few years. Meanwhile, of course, we're finishing up the park project, the Rail Yard Park, Frisco Park, and the Rail Yard Bike Park. To kind of take a look at those projects, now this is where it gets a little tricky on Google. I think I can pull this off. Here we go. So this is a very recent aerial view of the downtown area showing some of the construction. This is Frisco Park, the Rail Yard Park, And then you can see the work being done back here on the bike park. The bike park is nearly done. We went through punch list items this morning on it, and it's completely sodded pretty much. The lights are about ready to turn on that project. We have a few minor tweaks that we want to make, but it's about ready to go. And if you haven't seen it, I'd encourage you to get out there and take a look at it. I'm very confident that this will be one of the major draws of the area. We had some posts online on Facebook about the status of this park, and Shanda was saying it was the most shared post that we'd ever had in the city of Rogers. I think somewhere around 1,200 times this was shared. And if you look at some of the people talking about it on some of the mountain biking pages, people all over the country are starting to think about planning their vacations next summer in order to take in the bike park in Rogers, Arkansas. I think it's pretty exciting stuff. Some other things to share with you. I think most of you have seen this, but this is the rail yard design. So Frisco Plaza, what we most of us think of as Frisco Park is right here. And fortunately, we designed this as a plaza with trees and picnic tables before COVID hit. But it's fortuitous, I would say, in that I think, whatever the future looks like, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in not sitting inside a restaurant if they can sit outside and be in some fresh air, and to hang out with friends outside, I think is going to be a popular choice. You've probably seen the 3 water towers right here. And then we're starting to see some of the playscape equipment come in here. There's some tunnels that you can see that they're starting to bury right now. That'll be partially buried tubes that kids can run through and play in. And then the large gantry crane right here will have some more traditional playscape material underneath the crane. So that's more like a playground area. And then of course you've seen the stage has been built, and the framework for this enclosed area is up and ready to start enclosing. This is what that will roughly look like. There have been some minor tweaks to this design, but that's what the stage and the music venue will look like when it's done. This is kind of an artist rendering of those 3 water towers, which are also water features that you can play in. And so different types of spray and whatnot will come out of these. These are just the architect's rendering of what those will look like. But since then, we've stood up our Arts and Culture division, and the Arts Commission has approved 3 artists to actually begin painting these things in the near future. This is a French artist named Mantra, who does sort of photorealistic butterflies, and this is an initial rendering of what he's thinking about. One of the water towers is being designed by an artist named Laquina, and I can't pronounce her last name, but her initial thought, she does a lot of text stuff, and this simply says, "I'll bring you flowers." And then the third is a local artist, Octavio Logo, and he's got sort of this bicycle flying fish theme. This is a fairly recent photo taken with a drone of the bike park, and as you can see, we've paved the entire thing, everywhere where you ride, so that this park will literally be open in the rain for a lot of the runs. There's some wooden features that I don't think would probably be safe to ride on wet, but it should be open 365 unless it's just snowy and icy or something like that. So much better. And then we recently accepted a design excellence grant from the Walton Family Foundation to begin doing some major improvements to the alleyways in downtown Rogers. This is an example of what that might look like, but resurfacing the alleyways, moving the trash barrels out of the way or consolidating trash underground and making the alleyways a lot more vibrant. So those are the main things that we've got going on. And I just say that, go on to say that from the very beginning, the mayor has challenged us to stay open and to do everything that we can to prepare Rogers for the backside of this, that we can be prepared, we can emerge from this strong and well-positioned to be the kind of place that has a stronger sense of community, is a powerful community that attracts the very best talent in the world, and retains that talent in this area, while maintaining our sense of authenticity and our connection with our own history. And so our department keeps that top of mind all the time. And we frequently interact with the mayor and you all to ensure that we're not getting off track. So I encourage all of you to give us feedback, to contact me. And if you'd ever like to get together and chat about these things, I would encourage you to do so. I'm always interested in that. So with that, I think Jennifer Moore is going to take some Q&A.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go ahead and move over our panelists that have shared with us today. So John, you're going to stay right there, and we will move folks over so we can take a look at the questions that have been asked. And thank you to our panelists as well for joining us and being so awesome in their presentations. Okay, our first question comes from Shanda Hunter, and her question is, are parks open to the public? Jim?
Yes, the answer is yes, they are open. I hope I was more clear than that, but yes, all the parks are open, the amenities are open, the playgrounds are open, the restrooms are open, the tennis courts are open, the basketball courts are open. The only things that we are not doing is we are not renting sports parks or pavilions in an effort to encourage social distancing. So the answer is yes.
Thank you, Coach. And we're going to go ahead and type in that answer for everybody. And our next question is, so we did have a little technical difficulties with some of the screen shares, and we will make those PowerPoint presentations available with the recording. So if you want to take a look at those, we will certainly make those available for you. And the other questions are about the PowerPoint. So I think we've covered that. If anybody else has any questions, it's now the time to type those into the Q&A. And okay, here we go. We have a question. We are very excited to hear all the updates. My question is, with the new services transitioning online, how are we planning to communicate this to our diverse community? And this question comes from Juliana Tartarini from our Library Board and Commission. That's a great question, Giuliani. We are communicating these through various ways. We are social media and word of mouth. When constituents, as far as I can speak for the clerk's office, for garage sale permits and such, we have posted that online for folks to receive. As we do other online things such as street closure requests and stuff, those are usually shared with the public when they typically call and inquire. So we're able to direct them to the website. John, I'll turn it over to you if you have any feedback on services transitioning online and the communication process for that with community development.
Not a lot to add. I mean, we do have bilingual forms, and we have a native Spanish speaker within the department, fortunately. I think, Shanda would probably have other things to say perhaps, but in terms of outreach, we're certainly concerned about ensuring that we have diversity on our commissions and that we're actively involved in engaging with our broad community. So.
Excellent, John. Thank you. And the next question is, and if any other panelists wants to jump in at any time too as well, please feel free. The next question is, will this information be posted in different languages as well? I think John covered that with his piece of it. And yes, we are blessed that we have a diverse work group here at City Hall. And so we do, rely on our team members to help us translate things that could be translated to help the constituents better. If ever there's somebody that comes to City Hall that needs help with translation, we do have staff members available to help with Spanish at least. So that's what we're doing there. And that looks like the last question, and it is 12:59. I like it. And so we will turn it over to the mayor for a closing.
All right. Well, you gave me just exactly the amount of time that folks want to hear from me, which is just less than a minute. I want to thank all of you again for your participation in today's presentation, as well as your continued work towards creating a first-class city and maintaining a first-class city. I think you could probably surmise, if you didn't already, that there's a lot going on, and we're continuing to innovate as we transition into the new normal in the way of doing business. And so I think you can rest assured that from the staff level perspective of the City of Rogers, you're well served. And as you do your work on behalf of the public on our boards and commissions, you can rest assured that the implementation of those policies and guidelines and projects will be done in the most professional manner possible. So again, thank you. We want to encourage you to continue to stay safe. We'd love to see you in person again, and we'll get there someday. We're just not there yet. I want to give you an admonition that, you know, I know that folks are really getting tired of COVID and the restrictions that it's placed on us. But folks, we need to brace, because this is not going the right direction right now. We are in as bad a shape today as we've ever been during this pandemic. And so if you're not tracking the daily numbers and tracking the hospitalizations and tracking where Benton and Washington counties fall within those daily numbers, tracking the deaths, sadly, we've got to do better than what we're doing right now. And so hang in there, continue to wash your hands, wear your mask in public, and socially distance. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.